Today, we're going to go over the 10 steps to a successful body transformation. And I divided this up into two different categories. It's the pre-steps and the in-action steps. So what these steps really are is it's the full process, what you're going to be experiencing through your body transformation, whether that's this one is 8 weeks, but if you're someone else doing like a 12-week body transformation, whatever it is, 16 weeks, 12 weeks, 8 weeks, there's always going to be this step. And what I realized while putting people on their body transformations is there's a really high failure rate where people just give up. And there's also a really high successful rate when people really take these steps. And these steps didn't just come out of nowhere. Like, this is from me doing body transformations for myself, for my clients for over 15 years now. And when you follow these steps and you kind of already know what these steps, you can mentally prepare yourself for the upcoming 8 to 12 weeks or however long it takes. And once you're mentally prepared, your physical body will be able to endure any transformation. So it's really important, very important. I mean, you guys started your transformation, so might as well get the most out of it. We're doing everything on our end to get you as much support as possible. So what you need to first do is get these 10 steps down in your head and do the pre-steps if you haven't yet, and then do the action steps. So now let's actually go into the details of what these 10 steps are. So the pre-steps, steps 1 through 5. The first step is announce. You have to announce to everybody that you know that you're doing this body transformation. Tell your parents, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your church, everyone you know. Tell your dog if you have to. Tell everyone you know that you are gonna do this. If people say they're gonna do it and they start telling people that they're gonna do it, people like to be consistent with their words. So that means if you're saying that you're gonna do it, now you have so much more power, so much more motivation to actually get it done. So this is the first step. Tell everyone you know that you are going to do this body transformation, and you need their support to not take you out for a drink at a bar or take you out to a nice dinner for this time period, because this is your time where you have to do it for yourself and change for yourself. So that is the first step, which is announcement. Step number 2 is you need a timeline. If you look at all the trainings of the best in the world, from even back ancient days, if you look at the Spartans, they all had a deadline to their training. Because if you don't have a deadline, there's no real reason for you to keep going hard and hard and hard after each day, because you will just burn out and grind out and just fall over and you'll fail your body transformation. So in order to do that, you have to have a start date and you have to have an end date. Now, if you're doing our body transformation, luckily we set that start date and end date for you. So just know that that's actually a very good benefit that you're getting, because it's very hard for some people to actually start the date by themselves. So now that you know that you have a start date and an end date, this time period is where you really have to make sure that this body transformation is your number one priority for the rest of your journey here. So now we go into the third step, step number 3, which is motivate. I know I have a lot of mixed feelings about people saying, oh, motivation is just a spark. It's just what gets you started. Discipline is what gets you going. Yes, that's very true. If you know me, you know I value discipline very much. But motivation has its place. So make sure you motivate yourself. What I like to do personally is I actually enjoy hearing and watching motivational speeches. I know some of you don't, but I personally do, and it gets me fired up. It gets me fired up just enough to get me that spark to actually commit and get myself to do this body transformation. So do whatever you need to do to get yourself motivated. Read a motivational book, go watch a motivational movie, go watch motivational speeches like I do. But get that momentum high, get that motivation high so that you can start strong. And we will talk about how you can carry that motivation throughout the whole journey so that you come out successful at the end. So the next step now is step number 4, which is find support. If you're doing the body transformation challenge with us, you have the support with you. But if you're doing this by yourself, you need to find yourself a support partner, a support group, a support coach, a support trainer, whatever it is. You need someone to keep you accountable, because there's gonna be times when it gets hard. Someone needs to be a second eye for you, and that's what carries you out throughout the whole journey sometimes. So find a support partner. If you can get a coach, if you can get a trainer, yeah, that's probably the best option, because they can actually guide you and mentor you. But if you can, at least have a friend that does it with you. Have your boyfriend or girlfriend, wife or husband support you. Do it together. Have a friend that suffers with you throughout this journey, and then you guys can both be successful and have a new body at the end. So finding a support partner, I think it's also one of the very crucial steps if you want to succeed your body transformation. And the last step, which I probably said a million times even before coming to this 5th step of the pre-step, last step of the pre-step. So the last step of the pre-step, step number 5 of the 10 steps, is committing. You have to commit yourself to this. This has to be your number 1 priority. Your nutrition, your training, your meals, your prepping, your photo taking, whatever it is that's gonna be needed for this, you have to commit to doing it. Not just once, but every single day, over and over and over again, until this challenge ends, until you are successful with your body transformation. That is the most important step, which is actually the last step of the first 5 pre-steps. So if you're ready and you committed, congrats, you just finished half of your body transformation. Now, let's go into the action steps, which is the crucial steps or the journey that you're going to be going through when you're doing this body transformation. So the 6th step in the 10 steps is action and adapting. You have to adapt to every action you take. And what I mean by adapt is this time period after you commit or you started your body transformation, once you start, there's going to be a drastic change usually in your lifestyle. You're going to be having to prep all your meals now. You're going to be grocery shopping way more. You're going to be drinking so much more water. You're going to be trying to recover so much more better. You're going to not miss workouts. You're going to do your cardio. And that lifestyle change sometimes it doesn't just happen at once. It takes some time for you to get used to. So this 6th step, or the first step of the action step, is adapting. And my main message that I want to get clear on this step is it's not about perfection. Don't try to get perfection. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna miss meals. You're gonna not get everything right, and that's perfectly normal. So the main emphasis of this step is effort. You committed, now you need to put in the effort. So give yourself a break if you don't get everything perfect, but keep that effort up for 2 to 3 weeks, and then once you do that, you're gonna start realizing, oh, I'm adapting. I'm getting used to this new lifestyle, and everything starts to get a little bit easier. How I like to look at this step is kind of like an airplane going off and going into the air trying to fly. When an airplane takes off, it has to use so much of its energy, so much more fuel to do that transitional change. And that's when the airplane really uses most of its fuel, and it just uses everything in its power to get itself in the air. But once it's actually in the air, you adapt, and then the airplane starts cruising. So now it's a lot easier. You adapted. Once you adapted, you now go into the 7th step. The 7th step is the grinding stage. This is when you need to grind. This is when it starts to hurt. This is when everything starts to get hard. You start to get hungry. You want to start going out, but you have to grind. And this phase always comes. It comes after you adapt. And when things start to get easy, the grind has to come and you have to focus. You have to stay sharp. You have to grind through this step. And just like how that airplane has to take off, in the air while it's cruising, it's always going to have its turbulence. So get ready to grind, get ready to suffer a bit, get ready to persevere through this, and know that this is not an easy task that you're trying to do. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not. Losing fat, that's why it's such a hard thing. That's why it's $1 billion industry. Losing fat is supposed to be hard. But just know that if you can grind through this phase, it does get better. So now let's go into step 8, which is the second wind. When you're grinding through that phase and you grind and you feel like giving up, don't give up. Just make sure you still consistently do what you have to do. Do the workouts, do the cardio, do the meal prepping, do the recovery sessions, do the stretching, the mobility drills, do everything you need to do, but don't give up. Make sure you take progress photos, make sure you compare photos, make sure you track your weight, because without all these tools in your arsenal, you're bound to fail. So when the second wind comes, it only comes when you start seeing results in your own body, when you look in the mirror. Now, you should be already in the end stages. You should know and feel the fat already burning off. That's when it gets hard. The grind is here, but the second wind will also come. This is why you need to stay consistent with your photos and checking up on yourself, posing, looking at the mirror, checking your body fat, because that's what motivates you and keeps you going when things get hard. So grind, and then when it gets too hard, rely on that second wind. If you want that second wind, make sure you have all the steps correctly before. Make sure you do everything that you need to do, like tracking photos, tracking weight, meal prepping, and you will see the results come, which will give you that second wind, that second push to finish that body transformation. Now, the 9th step, step number 9. We are going into the end of this body transformation, the last week. This is called the peak week in bodybuilding terms, and I like to call it the peak week also. This is when you really have to push. A big protocol we use is we cut out carbs and then we load it right before the end if you have like a photo shoot or you have a show, just to make yourself a little more polished, a little more better looking, with that 1%, 2% edge that you can't get anywhere else. So with that, with the peak week protocols, you will be in the best shape of your life after you finish your body transformation. Now that's not it. That was the 9th step. The last step of a body transformation is the rebound stage. You just burned off all your fat. You are at your weakest stage. Now your body is like a sponge wanting to grow more muscle everywhere it can. You need to feed the body the right foods at the right time. When it's a sponge, give it the protein, give it the right carbs, and your body will be like a sponge just growing in muscle at this stage. This rebound stage is where people get about, let's say, I would say at least 15-20% of a year's worth of gains if they do it properly at this stage of the rebound stage. So don't get this wrong. If you do get it wrong and then you finish a body transformation and you just eat like crap and eat whatever you want, that's when you go into a yo-yo. So you probably heard of it, but a yo-yo is when you get really lean and then you mess up because you don't do the last step, and then you get out of control and then you become even fatter than when you started. That's because you didn't rebound properly. So this whole process is a step, and after the rebound, that's when you just go back into maintenance, go back into a growing stage, and then once that's happened again, then you do another body transformation. So if you look at this, it's an ongoing cycle. You're never gonna reach an end. There's always growth somewhere, and it's always about improving and improving, knowing where to improve, and that is really what body transformations is all about. So I hope this helps. I want you to make sure you succeed in your body transformation. So if you want a copy of this 10-step PDF guide, I will put it in the link below. So just grab a free copy, no charges, all free. Thank you.